YouTube adventurer. This is a brand new little thing I'm doing for my channel called Discussion Dates. If you didn't get that from the title, shall we roll it again? Today I wanted to talk about the overwhelming sensation that is responsibility. This may make you chuckle a little bit because you're probably thinking, Cal, what does she know? She's barely out of diapers and probably doesn't know the meaning of the word graft. Well, sometimes it doesn't matter what the responsibilities are or the level of intensity that they sit at. It's just how you're coping with them, and that's natural, I think. Sometimes they're very minor things, but they're also very important things. That's life, but I always seem to have this big cloud of anxiety as soon as any mention of responsibility pops up, and that bothers me. Maybe that's why I'm crap at relationships. Who needs counselling? Not me, clearly. This is the sort of thing that starts to make me wonder how I will cope in the real world. Real world being full-time job and bills amongst maintaining other elements of life, other things. I'm kind of expecting it to be like being thrown straight into the flames. What flames is that, I hear you ask? Well, my friend, that will be the depths of hell flames. I've always had jobs that don't really require extreme, intense levels of responsibility, so like bar work. And sure, it requires you to be reliable whilst you're there and to get on with your work, but when your shift's over, you can go home, forget the whole thing and just close the door until next time. That kind of work suits me pretty damn well. You know, I'm happy with that. But it's fitting the world I have outside of my work that becomes a problem. And that could be with any job that I ever have. If you've seen the origins of my channel, my earliest content, you will know that I am an aspiring actress. I want to act. I'll be honest with you, I'm not at the stage of success that I would have expected myself to be by this age. Each year I set myself a target age of when I want to have achieved something. But when I get to that age, I have to set myself an extension usually, despite working super hard, because it just hasn't happened. I haven't reached that goal, and that makes me feel guilty because I gave myself that responsibility and I failed. That starts to make you loathe aging as well as time. And your time management skills go vroom. I'm not talking about fame when I talk about success. I'm talking about having frequent paid work. I can't afford to keep taking unpaid or expenses only work. No matter how cool the role is, no matter how much I love the idea of the film or play or anything, I just can't do it anymore. And that upsets me a little bit because it kind of takes away from the original reason why you're doing acting in the first place, and you lose the love for it a little bit. You're kind of forced to take anything, whether you like it or not. And there's been times when I've been tempted to lie to get a job, which I hate lying, I can't lie, which is stupid because I'm an actor, or maybe even take a controversial role that I wouldn't really want to be associated with, just because it'll give me money to live. But having a job and the responsibility of having a job means I don't have enough time or days free to focus and dedicate to my acting work. So that cannot progress any further whilst I have to go to work. It would be ideal if I could fit acting life around it, but you know, beggars can't be choosers. So if you've got any ideas, hit me up, let me know. Employ me, basically. I don't want this to sound pretentious, even though it probably comes across a little bit that way. Like, oh, I can't work, I'm dream chasing, I don't know. I just don't want to have regrets for the rest of my life, knowing that I didn't give it a go, I didn't give it a shot. And I'm sure there will come a time when I think, okay, this is it now, I need to seriously reconsider my life. Hopefully there won't come that time, but if it does happen, then it will be expected, I suppose, but not welcomed. Also, there's that lovely quote that Jim Carrey made. I think it goes, you can fail at what you don't want, so you may as well take a shot at doing what you love. Don't worry, I'm not getting unemployment benefits. Then perhaps I could be. However, the one thing I tend to do in these situations is obsessively apply for everything. Any opportunity, I will snap it up. I try to keep it all organised, but I have one off day and then it just spirals out of control, and I get so behind that I sort of take a flight response to it. I'm out, I can't cope, I shut it all off and pretend like it's not happening. Not a manic sort of skittish panic when it happens. Externally, I probably look pretty chill. I'm paralysed by the fear that maybe I'll mess up. And although that's okay, it's my responsibility not to mess up. So I avoid that possibility by just not tackling the tasks. It could arise from, you know, going to auditions and being rejected, because that happens. The weird thing is that when I had a job that obstructed me from doing any acting gigs, I felt more motivated. I guess I had to focus more, otherwise if I didn't, I wouldn't be getting anything done outside of work. Whereas with all this free time, I'm free to procrastinate whilst bathing fears of my life. In fact, right now I'm meant to be doing 101 other things, and yet here I am making this video. Was also on the to-do list, so it's fine. And that's the other thing. Here's an example of how long this bubble has corrupted my life. I've wanted to make YouTube videos since I was 13, and that's before the YouTube community was this massive pool of talent that it is today. I mean, the people who uploaded back then, like back in the olden days, were talented, but now it's just massive. I just wanted to make silly little videos, nothing like major, but what if I couldn't do the standard thing that was uploading each week? My entire channel would fall through, everyone would hate me, the world would burn. I usually have a very positive outlook on life, but this video is making me doubt that theory. And now there's added pressure and, keyword, responsibility, because there's so much on YouTube now, and you've got to have your own stamp and be entirely unique and fresh and just perfect, as well as frequent. That scares me. My typical pattern seems to consist of doing 2 videos of the same suit, then never returning to that, and privatising the evidence. I'm not going to do that anymore. No. No, no, no. I like the idea of whatever I put out may be enjoyed by people and may give them some ideas or maybe some seed of inspiration to think about. I don't know. I'm sure you're thinking a lot of things watching this. Mainly like, this girl is crazy. I know how much better you feel just by getting the first thing ticked off and done. But I still have some kind of mental block holding me back from being able to do that. The fear of responsibility. Let me tell you what it says. It says, hyperpengiophobia is an overwhelming irrational concern of responsibility. The sufferer could be self-indulgent, neglecting, all responsibilities to the expense of others. Other individuals coping with a phobia could refuse to simply accept responsibility for anything and should actively blame others when their failure to take responsibility leads to mistakes being made. I'm not self-diagnosing myself because it's just a typical notorious Google symptom search, but my take on this would be that yes, I have a fear of responsibility, but it doesn't scare me until that responsibility is current and it's here and it's happening. I usually take on too much all in one go, and I suppose that has led me to neglect some people. Like not responding sometimes. I feel awful for doing this because that person is sitting waiting on me, and here I am having a freak out mode. Any doctors out there? What's your diagnosis of this situation? Some people don't get it because they are just perfect in every way. They're like Mary Poppins. I guess I'm asking you, do you feel this often? Do you overload yourself and then regret it terribly and go into a little shell where no one can find you? And there we have it. Now is your time to respond. This is a discussion date, so respond. Comment below. Leave me a little message and I will read it and hopefully get back to you if I haven't got too much on. But no, I will try. One thing I do ask though is that you're respectable, and even if I do sound completely nuts and bonkers to you, be nice, because you know, there's enough hate in the world already. And on that note, I am going to depart from this discussion date. I hope we can go on a second date, and a third, and a fourth, and a fifth, and a sixth, and so call me. Bye!